everyone, and happy Earth Day. I'm Eleanor Gardner. I'm the Outreach and Engagement Coordinator at the KU Natural History Museum. In this video, I'm going to share a fun hands-on science activity for Earth Day, but first I wanted to say I hope you're doing as well as possible during the ongoing pandemic. I miss seeing everyone at the museum and at community events, but practicing physical distancing and taking precautions like wearing masks when in public are very important to help keep ourselves and our community safe and healthy right now. Thank you for everything that you've done and will do as we continue to fight the virus. And although we've had to change the way we wanted to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Earth Day in the United States, I'm really glad that the Watkins Museum of History decided to host this online event so that we can still connect with each other, learn from each other, and work together for the good of the planet. So in honor of the fact that life on Earth is mostly green, just think about all the chlorophyll-rich plants as well as lichens and photosynthetic algae and cyanobacteria in our world, I'm going to show you how to make a plant press with materials that you probably have right at home. First though, what exactly is a plant press? A plant press is a piece of equipment used by a botanist to flatten and dry different specimens of plants from the field. Once dried, flattened, labeled, and properly attached to archival paper, the specimens that a botanist collects are stored in an herbarium, like the McGregor Herbarium, which is part of the KU Biodiversity Institute and Natural History Museum. This way, the specimens last a very long time, hundreds and hundreds of years, and they are available to many different scientists for study and analysis. Now, the plant press we'll make today won't necessarily produce specimens of museum quality, but it will be fun and it'll teach us how to process specimens the way that a botanist would for later storage. The materials we need are 2 or more books, a plant, rubber bands, paper towels, cardboard, a pen, and a note card. The best books for this activity are hardcover, thin, and relatively flat. The rubber bands should be long enough that they can go around 2 books. So the first step is to collect a plant sample. And when we're doing that, it's important to collect from your own backyard or at least from an area where you have permission to collect. And the more complete the sample, the better. So if possible, collect from the top of the flower or the leaves down to the root if it's a smaller plant, or if it's something like this Eastern redbud, notice that I got a selection from the branch that includes a variety of different spots. So as a good scientist, remember that it's important to always write down on a note card the location, the date, and the time that the sample was collected. This will come in handy for later. Next, make sure that the plant sample is relatively dry. You may need to carefully take a paper towel and dry up any morning dew or rainwater that might be on the sample. Then, in order to put together the plant press, what you'll do is you'll have your first book, and then you're going to put a cardboard piece on top. Then you'll put your first paper towel. On the paper towel, you will then want to arrange your plant specimen in the orientation that you want it to appear once it's pressed and dried. And then you'll place your card that you took down the collection data on. Next, you'll place the second paper towel. And this is going to provide that important moisture absorption for the specimen so that it dries out nicely. Then you'll put your next piece of cardboard, and finally the second book on top. Then in order to secure it, you're going to put your rubber bands around on either side, like so. And voila, your plant press. Now we wait. Minimally, you need to let the plant specimen dry and flatten for 1 week, but leaving them for 2 weeks to dry is even better. And when the time comes, be careful as you remove the books and especially the paper towels because the plants will be very fragile when they've dried out. If you'd like to mount and display your pressed plant specimen after it's fully flat and dry, you can very carefully use Elmer's glue to glue the plant to a piece of cardstock paper. Then you'll need to attach your note card that has the plant collection data that you listed, and you can add the common name and the plant's scientific name as well. And you'll put that in the lower right corner of the paper. And so it'll look perhaps something like this. This is one of our exhibit photos from the museum. It is a blown up version of one of the pressed plant specimens in the McGregor Herbarium at the KU Biodiversity Institute and Natural History Museum. So that just gives you kind of a little bit of an idea of what it is that we are going to be having our plant specimens ultimately look like for your own collection. Now, if you're wondering, how do I identify a plant when I may not be able to recognize it immediately upon finding it? If you have a smartphone, then you can use the Plant Snap app, and I'll show you what that looks like. Here is a picture of what it looks like on the app page. And that will give you a suggestion. And if you want to wait a little bit longer, you can get expert identification by sending your pictures of plants to our social media accounts. So you can find us at our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. And once we see those pictures, then we can get in contact with the botanists on staff, Dr. Craig Freeman and Dr. Caleb Morse, who then can provide expert identification. Also, I would really encourage you to share pictures with us via social media of your DIY presses and your pressed plant specimens that result from it.
To help a little with IDs, at least for flowering plants here in eastern Kansas, here are some pictures of native plants that are blooming now or will soon begin blooming. You can see these plants in many of our city and state parks, native-oriented commercial and residential landscaping, and of course growing in natural areas. The first one is wild plum. Then we have bloodroot, bluebells, wild blue phlox, and this wildflower is an important early season nectar source for pollinators like moths, bees, and butterflies. And then last but not least, the black-eyed Susan. This familiar wildflower has a high value to pollinators, including moths and butterflies, bees, flies, wasps, and even beetles.
As you go outside to collect plant specimens, with permission, be sure to take a look around and check whether there are any pieces of trash or recyclable waste lying around. Removing windblown or improperly dumped trash from our landscape helps to reduce the chance that birds, mice, and other animals might ingest non-food things that could harm them. To test your waste knowledge, try the short quiz that I've created. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope you enjoy pressing plants and celebrating Earth Day, separately but together. Bye!